Hey traders, before we jump into our systems update, our top 10 systems, we're going to have a look at some of the markets that we're trading because it's important, obviously, as I mentioned in the introduction, that we keep track of what's happening on a daily basis. So, what I want to get you even more familiar with, obviously, is making sure that you know what kind of a market you're trading in. As we do with our testing, we want to make sure that we test and trade in markets that we've tested our high performance strategy in, and then when it goes to live trading, then it's a nice progression from sim to live, and we don't find that we find that the performance is robust. So let's have a look. I've just got the DAX and the Eurobond here. Now, one of the critical things is obviously we want to know what the volatility is for the market that we're looking at. We also want to have a look at what the directional bias is at the time that we're trading it. So you can see with the DAX and the Bund, they both had a long bias. So price is trading above our moving average. So that tells us that on a daily chart there's a long bias here. Same as on the Eurobond. On the DAX we have volatility has gone very low up and it's spiked up high. What you'll see here with our DAX chart is that we've actually kind of hit a bit of a top at 12,500, and we're in a bit of consolidation here. So this will be interesting to see where this market breaks out from this point. But volatility is picking up because we've had a sell-off. So you can see that on our ATR, the ranges is picking up. I really like when I'm looking at my charts to actually have our VM indicator up because that's giving us our daily range on a more dynamic basis. So let's just add that in. I really like the VM indicator. Our default for that should be 217. It's actually, when you load the indicator up, it defaults to 30, which it should be 17. So let's jump in there and change that. We go into our VM indicator, we'll turn that to 17, and that's telling us what the range is on a daily basis. So if that VM indicator is dropping, it tells us that the range is dropping. If the VM indicator is rising, it tells us that there's a lot more opportunity. So we've got 237 points at the moment as our range. So that's great. It means that we've got good range days, and we've got basically what it tells us is we've got a bullish bias, still got that bullish bias, and we have high volatility. So we're picking up or close to high volatility, and our range is good as well. So we've got high range as well. So this is great because, as we know, when we're trading, we want to make sure that our range is at least 3 times our stop. So if my stop's sitting at about 20 points or 30 points on the DAX, I know that I've got more than enough range there. What you can do is break it down, take the VM indicator and break it down into the time of the day that you're trading, and look at the volatility measure there, and just see if the range is there still. Because remember, we're looking at daily range. Our systems trade a specific time, particularly if we're not swing trading, if we're day trading, intraday trading. So we want to know exactly what the range is for that period. Now, so again, the DAX here is bullish volatile. We've got to watch that we don't go into a sideways volatile market here. We should still be making money, but there's definitely a bullish bias there. On the Eurobond, that's just a classic bullish bias there. So it's bullish. It's actually bullish normal, but the volatility is dropping. So the volatility is really pushing down to that lower ebb of volatility. You can see that the last few days on the Eurobond, the range has been very tight. That's reflected in the ATR. Let's have a quick look at our VM indicator. We'll load that up as well. I just really like this little indicator. 55 it's coming up with. So we're getting 55. If our stop's about 30, then we might be in a little bit of trouble because we want 3 times. So remember that when you're looking at this indicator, there's some of the decisions you're trying to make. So making sure that your stop is at least, your range is at least 3 times your stop. So just having a look at the intraday action there, or if you're swing trading, looking at the daily action. And we know that we've got a bullish normal and volatility is dropping on the Eurobond. Let's have a look at some of the other markets. So the energies, we want to look at crude. Now, crude's been in a sideways volatile market for a while now. So this period here has been very good for some of our systems. If we have a look at a couple of the strategies that we're trading, we know that the systems have done really well in the sell-off. So we've had a fairly dramatic sell-off since July, and recently the systems have been going well with this sideways volatile market as well. So if we were assessing strategies that have performed really well over the last 16 weeks or longer, we know that basically that sideways volatile and bearish volatile, the two markets we've had. So we can classify our systems based on that. So when we're looking at our strategies now, we're getting good movement on the long side here because we've got this sideways volatile action. So it may be time, if you're trading a crude strategy like the Viper or the Trend that has previously been shorts only, to have a look at the long side. This is where that market analysis, you've got to really start exploring the long side and see if there's any opportunity or there has been any profit being taken on that long side of your systems. Even though you may have designed the strategy based on that short bias, you've got to keep an eye on that the long side as well. So that is basically a summary of crude. We'll go to the metals here. Now gold's interesting because we've got sideways normal to volatile. It's creeping up to volatile. It has come from being extremely low, so now we're pushing up to sideways normal to volatiles. So it'll be interesting to see if we can break out and head up to it that 1250, 1300 and get into that bullish range. But at the moment, yeah, gold not really doing a lot, just kind of tracking sideways. And let's have a look at what else we've got here. So we'll go to the softs. We've got soybeans, wheat, and coffee. Now, coffee has been fantastic for our traders. So coffee's been one of these markets that people get excited about because there's so much opportunity in coffee. And some of our best systems like PT10 performing exceptionally well on coffee. So you can see there the volatility has been up. It's dropping dramatically though. So that's one thing that we have to keep an eye on. We want to make sure that the volatility, even with a drop in volatility, we're still making money. We know that SN99, which we're going to have a look at tonight, PT10, they've been doing really well on coffee. I've got that counter trend strategy that I loaded up to Dropbox. That's been doing well. So there's a couple of really good systems running on coffee, and you can see it's been a fantastic market to trade because you've got that bearish volatile run. But then it went to, so let's just have a look here for a second. It's transitioned from being very bearish volatile here in October. So then the volatility suddenly dropped on coffee and it was bearish, but it was low volatility. So that's interesting. And then we had another run on the bearish side down to that 130. With higher volatility. So that spike in volatility brought with it some really good profit. So a really good market to track. And as I said before, when you're describing your market conditions for the system that has been making money over that period, it's bearish volatile, bearish normal, and it's almost at one point bearish low volatility, because you went below that 20 level on the volatility stochastic. Now with wheat has been had an epic run up there and then had sold off with high volatility, and now it's trading sideways but has gone back into that bearish run. So it's bearish high volatility, and then we've got soybeans there that has low volatility, sideways action. So really, soybeans is a market that you would be a little bit, you would be not reluctant to trade, but you'd be definitely looking at systems that are more cyclical type strategies rather than the Viper or Trend, because you've got very low volatility and you've got a sideways market. So let's have a look at our Forex pairs to finish off with. So a lot of these pairs, or some of these pairs, are starting to bottom out. You see the Aussie dollar in a nice little channel there. Still high volatility, good range. So that's giving good opportunity both longs and shorts. So when you're developing your strategy with sideways high volatility, you're looking to try to get something longs and shorts. And again, that's come from as well a bearish volatile market. So that's interesting with the Aussie dollar, and that should be giving you some opportunity there. Pound US dollar, again, looks like it's almost hit a double bottom there. The volatility is high. We've got a bullish, so we've got bullish volatile here on the pound US dollar. We've closed above that moving average. The volatility is sitting above the 80 level on the stochastic, so that would tell us that it's high volatility. So definitely looking at your longs on that side of if you're developing strategies for the trend or the Viper or the momentum system, definitely bullish volatile there. US CAD is starting to sell off, and so we're getting into a bearish volatile market there, coming from bullish volatile, sideways volatile, now bearish volatile. So you're getting all ends of the spectrum. So it's an interesting one if you've been creating strategies for the US CAD, because if you've got a system now that works in all three of those conditions, you've got a very robust little strategy. So it'll be interesting to see what traders are using as far as tracking the US CAD, whether it's Viper or potentially the pivot trader or the trend. So an interesting market to look at and test. I know there's a couple of our traders, Greg and a few others, that are running systems on the US CAD, and it would be interesting to see how they're performing at the moment. Euro Yen has been fantastic for us. When we go into our top 10 videos, our top 10 review, a lot of the systems on the Forex are trading the Euro Yen. No surprises there. We've had a fantastic sell-off. Last couple of months have been super on the Euro Yen, some big profits made. So I'm not surprised that it's done so well based on the volatility. As you can see, bearish volatile on that Euro Yen. And it's just going to be interesting here. We're starting to consolidate a little bit here, which happens on the Forex markets. I'm going to be interested to see if we can break above 132 and start heading up and getting to that bullish volatile phase. But either way, we've got sideways volatile at the moment because we've kind of plateaued and we've got a nice little channel there, as we do on the Aussie dollar. So we're getting some sideways action on this Euro Yen, and the next point at which we're going to be looking to adjust our systems would be once we start heading towards that 132. So definitely want to keep an eye on that. But also too, with those systems we have in our top 10, they're predominantly short. They've got a short bias. So you may need to recalibrate your strategy based on the current sideways volatile market. So remember that if we have a dramatic change or a change in the market conditions, and we start to see that our system is starting to not perform as well, then we need to re-optimize and look at potentially look at the long side, particularly if we've got a short bias. And that's a bit of a recap on the currencies as well. So that's a bit of a review on the currency. So we're going to have a look at our top 10 systems next.